They required tremendous personal and economic sacrifice, and for many, redefined everyday life for more than a year. But now, data show lockdowns have had little to no effect on COVID-19 mortality. Economists with Johns Hopkins University analyzed dozens of studies from around the world and concluded the average lockdown in the U.S. and Europe reduced the COVID death rate by 0.2%, and shelter-in-place orders reduced deaths by 2.9%.
Nothing near what we were promised in the beginning of the pandemic.
The authors of the study say often people didn't follow the mandates, and the virus was still able to spread inside homes, grocery stores, and on public transportation. What would have worked instead, as author Jonas Herby explains, is informing people better so they can respond voluntarily.
People know how to take care of themselves. When there's a pandemic in the country, people adjust their behavior and they cancel birthdays and parties and meetings.
It appears many governors of both parties have already come to this conclusion. Even when Omicron cases were spiking last month, New Jersey's Phil Murphy, a Democrat, was hesitant about new lockdowns.
They're largely accepting of what you need to do to push back at this, and for the time being, at least, we think that's gonna work for us.
Maryland's Larry Hogan, a Republican, ruling them out entirely.
Our offices and businesses need to be open. Our kids need to be in school in person.
Results of other studies find COVID lockdowns were effective. The authors of the Johns Hopkins study point out that their research did not consider the timing of when lockdowns were mandated. They say if implemented early enough or targeted differently, they could have more of an effect in reducing deaths. Tough decisions could be ahead as the virus continues to mutate, most recently into the so-called stealth Omicron, and as leaders seem less willing to allow it to disrupt everyday life. In Washington, I'm Atrel Nashar reporting.
The reason I'm profoundly disturbed is because the U.S. government has now had time to contemplate and analyze and has decided to advance a policy in favor of destroying a third of the American people. There's a very, very, very specific and very large, but it's a very specific segment of the American population, 20%, 30%, it's not a small amount, but it's a specific segment that has been, as a matter of policy, destroyed economically. You know, for all the talk, oh, it's a pandemic, oh, wear a mask, oh, we need a vaccine. You know, there's all this sort of theatrics about the fact that, oh, we're in a pandemic. Well, if we are in a pandemic and you're going to shut down all of the small businesses and you're going to shut down all of the hotels and you're going to shut down all of the cruise lines and all those jobs at Disneyland and Disney World and on and on and on, all those hospitality jobs, all of those travel jobs, all of the gyms, all of the hair salons, all of the restaurants, it does not take any level of awareness or education to understand the level of catastrophe. So at this point, the destruction of small business and the categories that I've discussed is now being advanced as a matter of conscious policy by the United States government.
Their policy is to shut down at least a third of our economy. That's their policy. And where does that economy go? It goes to Amazon. That's where it goes. It goes to Best Buy. It goes to Target. It goes to Walmart. That's where it goes, right? Because I can't go to my sporting goods store on the corner where there's 5 people in it and buy a baseball mitt for my nephew for Christmas, but I can go to Amazon and buy a baseball mitt. Why is that? There's 1,000 people inside one of those fulfillment centers. There's 5 people inside of my local sporting goods store. Why is 1,000 people inside of a fulfillment center okay, but 5 people inside of my sporting goods store not okay? Why is this okay to inflict this kind of damage on people without helping? Why is people with big platforms afraid to use leverage right now in the most desperate situation people have ever been in?